Squid Game asks the question, what does it mean to survive if it costs so much? Sorry for getting all deep, but some of my friends, they didn't really understand the show that well. So I just wanted to make this video breaking it all down. But before that, for those of you who haven't seen the show, I want to do just a quick little summary. The show is about Gi-hun. I don't think I'm saying that right. He's a 47-year-old man still living with his mother, who's also a gambling addict who bets on horse races. Due to his gambling habits, he racks up a lot of debt and he's forced to essentially rely on his mother. He gets an allowance from his mother to allow him to buy a gift for his daughter on her birthday. But him being a person who really enjoys giving to others, he steals his mother's debit card and buys her a gift. And to maximize the money, he tries to gamble to make more. After winning some money gambling, debt collectors come and try to collect their debt, but isn't able to pay off his debt, so he's forced to sign his life away. And his mother becomes very ill and the medical costs are very expensive. But later on, in a subway station, Gi-hun, I think that's how you say it, is confronted by a man who offers him a game to win a little bit amount of money. After he loses a bunch of times, but eventually wins, he gets invited to the survival Squid Game.
Hey, that's the name of the show.
After he calls, he learns that he might get enough money to have all his problems fixed. The Squid Game is sort of his last opportunity to try and save his mother and try to somehow get custody of his daughter. Oh yeah, he only has part custody of his child and he can only sometimes see his daughter. But the Squid Game is filled with people who are desperate for money and are willing to do pretty much anything. After agreeing to the game, all the contestants get drugged and end up into a strange warehouse. They're all given numbers. A group of masked men with guns narrates the game's rules. Each player will participate in 6 different games over 6 days. The people who win all 6 games will get a very large cash prize. That's the basic premise of the show. The premise of this show does remind me of something else.
I brought in a bunch of my subscribers and gave them a chance to win tons of money.
Quick little mini review. I think this show is damn near perfect. Oh yeah. This show is cool too. One of the cons I have with this show is that it's kind of like those romantic K-dramas. Like, there's flashbacks for things that happened like in the same episode. I just thought that was kind of unnecessary and redundant. Later on in the show, there are these Americans who obviously speak English, but like their acting is like very weird and like bad. And I'm not talking about the dub. Please don't watch a live action show dubbed. I can't believe some people actually do that. Just read the subtitles. It's not that hard. Can't believe people actually watch this.
Had nowhere else. This is what I get.
You took more from me than whatever I might possibly owe.
If all that's true, how come you ran then?
Well, I didn't. I went independent.
Independent. Hey, you come here. Hold still. Oh, that scar on your neck. You're the damn pickpocket. Give me what you took. My money. Give it back. Where is it? You took it. I need it.
Anyways, some scenes where I had to censor some of these things because they're just too graphic. There's actually a lot of wild scenes in this show. Oh yeah, pretty big spoiler alert. If you haven't seen or finished the show yet, please watch the show and come back. Let me explain some of the things that you may have missed in the show. Korean cinema is always laced with meticulously written characters, like the old man who created the whole operation. He believes people don't care for one another, even though throughout the whole show we see people killing each other, betraying each other, and just not treating people well at all. But there is a glimmer of hope when at the end of the show we see the homeless guy get help right at the very end, and we see this through the eyes of Gi-hun, the main character, and he's sort of like the foil to the old man. His whole character is that he's always like trying to do the right thing. He's always trying to give money but doesn't have it. In the beginning of the show, he tries to give money to the bank teller. Or no, he tries to give money to that random lady, but he has to take it back just because he doesn't have money. Speaking of doing the right thing, saying, ooh, I'm not saying that right, but he completely opposes this idea and believes the ends justifies the means. It's just beautiful how all these characters play off of one another. You can go on and on about this, but some other other things I've noticed was that Gi-hun is symbolically placed at the other side of number one, the old man. And later on in the show, he would go on to put on number one's jacket, almost foreshadowing his eventual victory and that he would win. This could also symbolically mean that he's quite literally carrying the guilt on his shoulders of the death of the old man. One of the things I just love about the show is that there's so many different ways that you can like interpret something. The title Red Light, Green Light is a clever way to establish the show's symbolic use of colors. That's green is seen as like beneath everyone. That's the colors that they wear. That's like the lower class colors almost. And the red is seen as people in power. All the guards have it, and the guards choose whether you live or die. And this is obviously why at the very end of the show, he dyes his hair red. Just to clarify, put it in very simple terms, the reason he dyes his hair red is signify that he's moved up in the world, and where the guy in the beginning who recruited him used the red card or the red thingy, I don't know what it's called, but whatever. But I think it's important to mention that there's class differences is almost a staple in Korean cinema. This is probably because South Korea just developed what we would call a middle class. After the war that split the two countries apart, it took a while for the government to be stable, and there was a major shift in the late 70s, which ended in the mid 90s. The newfound freedom at the beginning of the tech boom allowed South Korea to develop its economy. The middle class and all of its social entrapments that surround it, and the class distinction is seen in a lot of other Korean movies and other Korean shows, with all these directors essentially message being that this class distinction stuff needs to be dealt with immediately. It's pretty crazy that this show literally has the rich viewing the poor people as just mere animals to compete for their enjoyment. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about some of the themes of the show. Some other things, the show also highlights how who society deems weak and fragile are typically pushed to the side. Group scenarios. Remember when no one would pick on the women in the old school, but they would go on to win, proving that they're not so fragile themselves after all. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. That's how I saw some of the themes. Just a quick little video explaining some of the ideas. And yeah, that's about it. Subscribe to the channel, like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't, and if you had any questions about the show, feel free to comment, or if you saw something differently, go ahead and comment.